My name is Chinenye Ibe. I'm the second daughter and second child of my parents. We're six in number. It means that I have five siblings. I was born around Itiwe, but I grew up in Lansing, all in Surulere. Growing up was fun. I remember my siblings and I, we are a team actually, but we fight a lot. You know, when you fight inside and when you're outside, you're like an army. No one comes close, no one talks to any other person, no one dares disrespect anybody. But in-house, we used to be tigers, we used to fight amongst ourselves. My elder sister used to beat me up. It used to be very funny. I mean, but the most beautiful thing about us is when we go out, you dare not speak to me because my sister is going to fight for me. Even sometimes I will cause trouble because I used to be very stubborn while growing up. So I'll cause trouble outside and they'll catch my sister because we kind of look alike. I don't know how, but when they catch her, they'll beat her instead of me and saying your sister did this, we can't find her, so you're the one that is going to bear the consequences. She'll come home, she'll cry. Even with my parents, we had this bond and love for each other. My father has this, he always portrays my mom to be his queen and we his children. He always shows us what love can be like even in a home. And being that we grew up in a godly home, on Sundays you will find us in church from 9 a.m. to like 6 p.m. because we're waiting for my dad. My dad used to be a deacon while growing up. So we have meetings and then we'll have to wait for him. While waiting, we would read the Bible, we would sing. Even during those times, I was learning how to play the piano just to be useful in church and all of that. It was an amazing time growing up.
My name is Sharon. My sister, Chinenye, we grew up together. We're more like twins because wherever you see me, you will also find her. And we went to the same secondary school, we went to the same primary school, and I know she has always been a bold person. Yes, and she has always been someone that likes to go for whatever she wants. So growing up was fun for us with our parents, with proper upbringings and, discipline and all that.
You know, when you're a child and you're supposed to know what you want to do, like what do you want to be? I want to be a banker. Mine was I wanted to be an accountant because even at childhood, we were meant to just know that as your life keeps coming, you need to know what you want to do in the future. Even before you enter SSC, senior secondary school, you need to know what you want to study in university. That now helps you to know if you're going to the commercial class or the science or the arts. Narrowing it down to university, I don't know why I didn't want to study in Nigeria. I just knew in me that there was something out there for me, but not in Nigeria, even though I know that my parents didn't have the money to sponsor me. But just deep down, I just knew it. For that reason, I kept delaying. Even when I was forced to write JAMB, I never went for post-UME. My parents were like, what exactly is your purpose in life? What do you want to do with your life? I was like, okay, fine, let me go and write ICAN exam. So I started with ATS. I wrote the first diet. I got tired again, I left it. They came back to me and said, Chinenye, you haven't told us what you wanted. And maybe for the fact that I was quite young, I wasn't feeling the pressure to rush into anything. I think I was about 15 or so. So they kept asking me, I'm like, I have time, just let me work and make some money before I rush into any school. So I had this best friend then that really got into a school in Benin Republic. And then I visited her a few times there and I just loved the place. And I thought to myself, I think I found a place that I want to study, because here I'm not just going to study accounting, I'm going to study the lifestyle in Benin Republic. I'm going to be free, I'm going to do every other thing that I possibly can't do in Nigeria. When I got out of school, I was going to stay back in Benin to figure out my life, maybe go to French school and pick up a bit of French and maybe start working there. But then my mom used to own a primary school, nursery and primary school then in Nigeria, here in Lagos. So she called me. I was like, oh, she wants to travel and she needs someone to take over while she's not around, that she's staying for a month or so. I didn't realize that was her ploy to bring me back, because I told them that I was not coming back to Lagos. So when I got back, and then my mom traveled for like 3 months. By the time she came back, she just got me engaged fully in the family business, and she was like, she doesn't think that I should go back. But then after a while, I started getting pressure on, oh, what do you want to do with your life? You studied accounting, why are you not out there looking for a job? But I didn't want to work, especially when it had to do with accounting. And because that's the only thing I knew for 3 years. Although while I was in school, I worked as a waitress in a lounge, but I never even thought about it too deeply. So the only thing I knew in my head was accounting. And now that I'm out, I don't want to study accounting, but I didn't know any other things to do. So I was home for like 3 months. My dad would come back, he would talk to me. He was like, he doesn't know what I want to do in my life. He can't believe that I'm just sitting at home. All these were getting to me. And then I started sending CVs out there so that it's not like I'm not doing anything. And one day I got called for an interview. It was like a normal interview, and because I have not done any professional job before, I thought that's how it was. And I signed up for it. They told me what the business is all about, public speaking, talking to people about their health. I didn't study health, nothing relating to that, but I know that I'm a fast learner. As long as I put my mind to it, I was going to make it work. So I decided to sign up to it because that was the only thing that would make me leave my house every day and like stop hearing my parents nag at me. So I started it. First month, second month, third month, I wasn't making money. My parents started again. They were angry. They were like, they don't understand what exactly I'm doing in my life. But I did that for 2 years, and I didn't do it because I couldn't go back to the street to start searching for a job, but because I enjoyed helping people. I enjoyed speaking to people about their health. I enjoyed the fact that I was beginning to develop myself in terms of public speaking. So even if I wasn't making money, I started becoming better. I traveled to a few states that I've never been to. I think I went to Port Harcourt about twice to speak to people about their health. I wasn't making money because I'm not a very good marketer in terms of selling their medicine and all of that, but I was seeing myself as a very good consultant already. I was able to tell and explain the drugs properly in a way that when people use it, they can see changes. And then I was beginning to be one of the best staff that they even had at that then. But one time we traveled to the village as a family, and then I didn't know that my parents had escalated the matter, and I was already getting threats to say, if you're not going to stop doing this thing, because 2 years now you're already useless, you're not working, you're not making money. If you're not going to stop, we're going to have to disown you. I'm like, you don't reach like that. I was like, that's not gotten to that. My mom's elder sister called me into her room. She was like, oh, they've heard what I'm doing. That is okay, but I know that I'm not from a rich family, so money is important. That how long can I keep up with doing charity work without making money? So I said, okay, no problem. I would change when I go to Lagos so that I don't get disowned, because if I get disowned, it's not like I have money. So what would I do with my life? So when I got back, I stopped. And what even pushed me to stop was when I got back, I went to the office, I spoke to them. I'm like, look at what my parents are saying. It looks like I have to stop doing this. And they cut ties with me immediately. They stopped talking to me. My immediate supervisor blocked me. It was just, I'm like, you people are not even going to fight to keep me. So when they did all that, my mom was even like, oh, I told you so. They are just using you. So I stopped. I didn't go. And then one day I was just in the compound doing nothing. And there was this girl. Every other person with friends we had, they were talking to her apart from me, because I just like to be on my own most times. But on this particular day, my younger sister introduced me to her Funny enough, I've been seeing this same girl whenever we go for seminars or workshops regarding this GNLD. I've seen her a couple of times, but we never talk because even if we're neighbors, we're not friends. So, but there was this, after this conversation that we had that day, I attended one of GNLD's workshop again, and then we saw each other. We're so happy, we hugged. But when we came back to the compound, we didn't talk. One day I was now speaking to her that, oh, I'm looking for work. Oh, if she sees work, she should let me know. She was like, oh, okay, that she knows this particular academy that provides work to people, but you have to undergo training and internship first. I'm like, I don't have anything I'm doing in my life. Maybe I should try it out.
My name is Eunice Ubem. I work as a hospitality operations manager, and I met Chineye where I used to live before. We were neighbors. She said she needed a job, and she was looking for a job because I just finished from WAVE. I just graduated from WAVE during that period, and then I always go to work, and then she was like, Alpha, where you work, is there any vacancy? Although there was a vacancy there, but I thought that she needed training before I could refer her anywhere, because I don't want a situation whereby I refer someone and the person is not being up to par with what is expected.
I enrolled to the WAVE program in 2019, batch 51. I didn't know what to expect, so I came there blank, with a blank check to see what it is that they had to offer me. So the first day, I can't remember clearly what it was, but I know that we had introductions, and they told us what to expect. They said we had to be coming early, and a few other rules that were outlined. That coming early was a problem for me. I'm not a morning person. I am still not a morning person. I struggle with waking up at 7, at 6 o'clock, but they said if you don't come early, they had a number of times, a number of strikes, and when it gets to that time, you'll be evicted. And I didn't want to be evicted. I wanted to see it through the end. So I started putting in conscious effort to wake up early. In fact, my parents were very helpful. My dad would wake me up because my dad goes out early. So when he's waking up by 5 o'clock, 5:30, he would wake me up and say, Chineye, you have to get up. So it was a struggle. And then I wasn't making any money. It was telling on me financially. I stayed at Lawansin, and the training was in Yaba. So there are times where I have had to trek from the training center at Yaba to Ojuelegba, and sometimes I'll have to trek from Yaba to my house. So thankfully I made a few friends, and we would always just trek together. So the training itself lasted for about 2 weeks, and then I had 2 or 3 weeks, and then we had to go about job shadowing, of which mine was even on the island here around Circle Mall, Jakonde. Yes, here in Lekki. So even during the job shadow, it was like going from frying pan to fire. I mean, I couldn't sort transport fare to Yaba. How am I supposed to do that to Jakonde? My parents helped at a point. Sometimes my friend, I made a very good friend while I was at WAVE. His name is Ridwan. We're still very good friends till now, although he relocated. Ridwan would always, sometimes he pays my transport fare, sometimes he will lap me. It was very funny. Sometimes I have to ask my friends for money. At a point it was becoming embarrassing, but I just needed to finish this and get a job, because that was the end goal. And so it wasn't easy at that point, but I went through with all the processes and I finished the job internship. I think that the owners of the business were happy and satisfied with the service, because personally I learned a lot on the job. It had nothing to do with what I have been doing for the past few years, but it had things to do with my personal life, because I used to be a very scattered person, but it helped me in terms of organization and all of that. So it was very helpful. Instead of it to be helpful to my professional life, it was actually helpful to my personal life. So I think that that's also a win for me.
Regarding WAVE, Chineye, she mentioned that she was going to WAVE. I was happy about it because of where she was coming from. She had ventured into something that everybody was against. I don't want to mention their names. So everybody was against it because it was taking her time. She was not productive. It was stressing her out, you know. But when she mentioned Wave and what Wave does, like the trainings and all that, I was like, yeah, it's good for you to do this one. At least we know something good will come out of it.
That time I told her that she should go because of the place that she find herself for. So even on that, I was telling God to bring her out in it. I know that God have already want to answer my prayer. I now come home and say that she want to go training to Wave. I said okay. I asked her some questions which she experienced. So she now went. So when she went there, I was seeing some differences that is there.
The most exciting part of the training was when we had to come back with assignments, and also we're asked to choose our coaches or mentors. I can't remember clearly, but I know that I had a mentor as at that time. I had someone to always run to whenever I had issues and I needed to sort it out. And then the class that stood out for me were the emotional intelligence class, the CV writing, the mock interview sessions. It really helps me because even when I was sent for my first interview, I think that helped me just nail the interview. It was the first interview I was sent out for and I got the job immediately. So my life after Wave was actually exciting. I had no expectations. I just have belief in the system because even with the way Wave does their things, they're very organized. They keep to time. So I believe that if you're very organized like that, you definitely know what you're doing. So I was just rest assured that these guys are going to get me a job. So I remember the graduation day. After that day, we all laughed, had fun, took pictures. I won an award. I think the award was for putting people first, actually, because during the training I was very immersed. When we would be divided into groups for assignments and tasks, I would make sure that I help everyone on the team achieve theirs. So I was like the mother of the people. Right, so I won that award. I wasn't expecting it, but when it came, I felt like I deserved it, and just like everyone felt. So there was no biasness in that. So right after the graduation, to me, I'm supposed to rest for like 1 week first because I've been through hell. I'm back, right? But I think the second day, I got a call or a text message saying that I had an interview somewhere on the island. I had to wear white and black. I'm like, guys, I just got out. I need to chill. But I couldn't say no because we were told that once you get an invite, you have to honor that invite. You know that before Wave puts you out there to go for an interview, they conduct a mock session. And I think that that's a very brilliant idea to help people ace their interviews, and that's what helped me because during that time they teach you how to answer questions in a very smart way. So I got together my white and black, getting ready for the interview. I was supposed to interview as a waitress at Maison Fahrenheit, Victoria Island. That day I got ready, I got out early, I got to the place of the interview. I didn't think that was looking like what they wanted. According to the general manager, they wanted someone that was fine, someone that was looking good, and then I didn't used to put on makeup, so I wasn't looking like who they wanted physically. But we had a good conversation. I won't also say that I answered all their questions correctly. For example, they asked me a question like, oh, so when a customer asks you for jumbo platter, what's the jumbo platter? They ask me questions like, okay, what's your favorite food? Describe, if I asked you to sell your favorite food, what would it be like? And to me, I was just having fun during the interview. I was just being myself. So I answered that, and according to them, they were blown away. The evening of that same day, I think at about past 9 in the night, I got a text from the HR to say that I got the job. After working for about 5 months, I went on leave, and by the time I came back, they had changed our general manager. So I only heard of her, but when I came in, I met her in person. I did not know she was the one at first. I saw her heading towards the kitchen, and I challenged her. I'm like, hey ma'am, that's the way to the kitchen. Are you looking for the restroom? So I talked to her like a guest, not knowing that she was the new general manager. Before then, I think she had been coming to the hotel, and she had just been watching everyone, but we didn't know that she was going to be our new boss. Few days down the line, she called me, the HR called me to his office and asked me to tender my resignation. I was scared. I know that I can be a troublesome person, but not at the detriment of my job. So I was scared, and I was like, what did I do? If I've offended someone, or if I have not done anything pleasing to my job, I would apologize. You can punish me, but don't send me away, because I didn't have any other thing to do. So he was laughing, and he was like, oh, that I've been recommended to go and work as an assistant supervisor in the sister company. As at that time, I was like, I've never been a supervisor before. I've never had to lead a team, so why should I be referred? But he told me that no, that he thinks that I can do that. The person that recommended me, actually, I came highly recommended. Thankfully, the person that recommended me was this GM that I just spoke to as a guest, not knowing that she was our new manager.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Initame Eromosele. I am the general manager of Hospitality Groundworks, which is a hospitality consulting firm. We basically do a lot of financial projections, market research, and I'm also a restaurateur, the owner of Sage Restaurant Lagos. When I met Chineye, she was working in the F&B department, and I was the general manager of the hotel. And I was still getting to know a lot of people. So Chineye will tell you, one thing about me is that I take my time to really study my staff. I study them, I get to know them, I try to understand their personalities. And one of the things that I realized in working in management is that a lot of people are not fit for their current role, or their skill set is way supersedes, or maybe they even need a bit more training. But I try to express, I try to get to know people. And I thought Chineye was very outspoken, very honest, which is a very rare trait to have in our industry. And you could see she was driven. So she was one of the only staff that I met that was in the process of always improving herself.
I started at Love Fahrenheit as the assistant supervisor, the food and beverage assistant supervisor. I had my fair of challenges there, because in the team of about 8 to 10 people, almost the whole team were older than me. We had married men, and I was there looking smallish in my own suit and all of that. So it was still an issue for me, because they wouldn't listen to me. They were like, who is this small girl that they've brought to come and challenge them or tell them what to do? And even if I look smallish, if I know what to do, I know how to use my mouth a lot. When it comes to emotional intelligence, communication skills, empathy, so everything about the wave training then was still very hot in my blood. So I was just driving it into what I was doing. I would speak to them one-on-one. I would try to be friends. As much as I was trying to be friends with them, I would still, put on that strict cap, so that they will know that even if we're cool, doesn't mean that you have to mess up at the job. So I was trying to find a balance in between, so that I am not disrespected personally as well. 5 months down the line again, the same person that recommended me to go work there called me up and said, Chineye, drop your resignation in 2 weeks. I'm like, okay. She was like, because I want you to come work for me. So I got to her office that day. I was like, oh my, I didn't understand what you're saying. Do you want me to come back to Maison? She was like, oh no, it wasn't about Maison, that she's actually resigning, that she found a new place to work in as their MD, and she would like for me to be her executive assistant. I thought to myself, I said, a new role without prior experience. How am I going to survive? So I started researching just to keep up with trends and just, you know, understand what exactly it is that is expected of me as an executive assistant. And that's how I started working at Boardroom Apartments. She was the first MD of Boardroom Apartments. Boardroom Apartments hadn't kicked off operations then because it was a new place and they were still trying to put things together. So it means that I had to follow her for site meetings. I had to manage social media page. I had to manage her personal life as well, because even as at that time we were trying to, she had to start going for PR interviews and all of that. I had to organize that. I mean, coming from someone that is not organized, that's myself at first, with training, it actually helped me to, you know, start putting myself in place. So I won't say it was easy, because there are times where she would ask me to do something I've never done before and I'll ask a lot of questions. So I was putting in my all. Sometimes my best was not even enough, but I knew that I wanted to make something out of it.
She will tell you, I give you impossible tasks. I'll give you an impossible task and I expect you to do it. I'm not going to teach you. I'm not going to give you guidance. I'm going to just say, go and do it. And she always exceeded my expectations. I remember there was a point I even told her to go and do social media. And she started learning how to do Canva and different things. And I was so impressed by her. And, you know, she became someone that was like my little sister, where she would express herself freely. And I'm not a ma kind of person. I mean, I'm Teme. Come to me as Teme, and she always did. And I appreciate that genuine that genuine persona that she got. But she's very driven, very hardworking, very personable, and an absolute sweetheart.
We worked together for about a year, and then Boardroom kicked off. But then she also had other businesses, other projects that she was supposed to handle. So she stepped down as MD to do other things. She told me to take up the role as a front office supervisor here at Boardroom. So because it was new and I know everything about Boardroom, I took up the role. It was also a new role. We interviewed a few front office staff. Imagine having to be a supervisor to people that have experience. I mean, I've never been a front office staff before, talk more of now being a supervisor. So I had my fair of challenges, because I was now coming into management little by little. It means that I have to manage a team, and I think there were about 8 people as at that time, still people older than me, physically, age-wise, everything, experience. Most of them had done the role for like 4 years. So I started making conscious efforts to work on those things. If I was supposed to scream, I would tone it down. I would speak with a gentle voice. I would try to laugh. So I was trying to put all this in place just to make sure that I am that leader or that manager that I'm supposed to be, so that I don't go back to someone say, you know what, I'm bringing someone else to rule over you. That would be a slap on my own face, because I have come too far to now say I'm going back. And then after being a supervisor, I became the guest experience manager. After that, you know, the owners of the business saw progress and they saw that I wanted to grow, because I was always asking, so what's the next thing? What do I do to get better? Are there trainings that I needed to undergo to become better? So even though my boss, the person I worked for as her executive assistant, even if we're not working directly anymore, I was still calling her, because she's a seasoned hospitality consultant. I was following up with her. She became a mirror of who I wanted to be. When I see her, I'm like, this is who I want to be in the next 5 years. This is who I want to be in the next. I just want to be like this one. I even want to be better. How do I do that? So she's a very busy person, but I'm so glad and so lucky that whenever I call her, she has the time to talk to me. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Chinenye, you're not doing this right. This is what you're supposed to do. So gradually she became my mentor. She mentored me. We continued working together again. Indirectly, she would give me tasks to say, Chinenye, do this. I think that if you're starting to do this, you know, you become better at what you do. So she became a part of me. And then when I look at her, I'm like, Ma, I actually want to be like you in the future. So I know you're going to be better than me, but you have to do this. You have, like, she started, if there are workshops about hospitality, she would throw them my way. She would tell me, Chineye, read this book, Chineye, do this, Chineye, do that. She was always checking on me. She would call me, Chineye, so how's work at Boardroom? Do you think that there's something you would want to talk to me about? She was always there for me. She's a very busy person, but she tries to have my time. Last year, I think I did something in strategic operations. It opened my mind to a lot of things in terms of operations, hospitality operations management. So after the course, I came back, I became better at my job. I was able to sit down and draft proper processes on the way businesses should run. So this wasn't even helping me professionally, it was helping me as a person. I began to see that hospitality person in me, that person that I've always said I wanted to be. So even though I gave myself 5 years to be like my mentor, I saw myself already doing it in 3-4 years. I was being this person that I'm already very proud of. I'm not where I want to be, but where I am is actually a win-win, and I can beat my chest and tell anyone that, oh, I think I've actually run faster than my shadow. Like, if I was to follow the trend in which you should grow your career, I think I've actually run faster.
When Chineye finished the training, I already know she used to be a bold person, but I've never seen her like being able to gather people to lead them, like to be a leader. So I noticed that after Wave, that was one of the qualities that she came home with. She's able to now stand on her own, take decisions. In fact, I'm always proud when I see her giving instructions to people and they are listening, like they obey. The last time I was with her and I was looking at her like, is this my sister? You know, because she was dishing out. I said, here, I even had to be careful not to say anything so I will not collect.
One thing that stood out for me was that her timing became more accurate. She was never really big on timing until after Wave, I mean, as far as I know. So after the Wave training, she was more timely, she was also more strategic with her thinking. Whenever she wants to do something, she actually thinks it through, and she does it in a way that is strategically aligned.
After going to the Wave and come back, so she was now more bright and I can say clever. She can even, whenever she's talking, you will think that, is it this person, is it this child that is saying like this? So she was very okay. Her life changed more than before.
I've met a lot of people from Wave, both from her set and other people, because I'm in the industry, I do a lot of employment, and I also am an employer. So I've worked with a lot of graduates from the Wave Academy, and I feel like she's one of those people who just sticks out. You know, I have an ability to see greatness. God has blessed me with a spirit of discernment, and I feel like Chineye just has such a bright light that she is such a big example to the rest of the students. And I feel like with her testimony and her zeal and her passion, definitely is going to be impactful to the society as well as the graduates. And I know that she would be able to do more work to lead people to understand that, one, this industry is lucrative if you put in the work, which is the most important thing. And second and most importantly, she's a great ambassador for the program. I think she actually did fantastic.
Personally speaking, my career or my professional years or journey has a lot to do with Boardroom Apartments. And right now, being the hotel manager, I've been able to, venture into a lot of things. Recently, I just completed a course on human resource management, because personally, I want to be able to do things on my own. I want to be able to offer, strategic consulting and advisory services in terms of hospitality to people. So those things I've said to myself that I wanted to be in the past, even starting as a waitress, even being that what's it called, that assistant food and beverage supervisor. Now looking at myself now and just looking at the person, I'm like, how did I get here? It's been an amazing journey. I won't say I've paid my dues, I'm still paying it, but I'm somewhere that I'm very proud of. I would advise that people go through this WAVE program. Just see it as a way of cleansing, see it as a way of discovery, see it as a way of understanding what it is that you want to do with yourself. And I'm sure coming out of the program, you'll be able to have good clarity on what it is that you want to be. You'll probably find out that you've actually just been deceiving yourself for the longest time, and after you're done with the program, you already know what it is that you want to do with your life. You already have a path. You might not know what the end game would be, but you already are able to, map out a plan for yourself, and that way you're able to scale through.